What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday Eve, man. Excited to be here. We got a lot to talk about today, a lot of news. We got a Corky Kell luncheon on Monday. We'll be revealing some of the Super 11. So y'all stay tuned for that, and we'll have our other Corky Kell luncheon on Tuesday. So maybe a lot to talk about. It's been a busy week already. Corky Kell is right around the corner. Our Sheriff's Cup is next Saturday at 9 a.m. And we also have a Sheriff's Cup dinner that Friday at IBEW Auditorium, man. So we got a lot to talk about. First and foremost, though, let's talk about KJ Bolden, who will be in attendance. Man, he is set to make his commitment decision on August 5th, right? That is this Saturday. He's been doing some great things in his career, right? 422 yards last season, 2 touchdowns, also had 43 tackles, was second team for Max Prep's All-American last season. And he almost committed to Auburn during the cookout this past weekend when he went. He said it was that close. So he's already said that's his top 2 teams, including Georgia as well. So lately, though, I have to bring this up. Auburn has been flipping commitments from Georgia, right? You got DeMarcus Riddick, who was supposed to go to Georgia, 5-star player. He recently flipped to Auburn. KG's kind of been pegged to go to Georgia by a lot of analysts and recruiting analysts across the nation, on 3 and also 247 Sports. So don't be shocked if you see KJ possibly flip. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I really think it's going to come down to Auburn and Georgia. If I had to pick one, I'm kind of leaning on Auburn right now. Now, I know Dylan Raiola came over. He's been trying to recruit him ever since he came over to go to Georgia. He goes to Buford High School, which is in Georgia. He's always up there in Athens visiting. Has a really good relationship with Coach Kirby Smart. So it's tough to say. But if I had to say, I'm kind of leaning towards Auburn. But, I mean, I think it's going to be so fun to watch him next year in that offense. Right, they were more run dominant last year with Justice Haynes, who's, as I've been saying, one of the top running backs the past decade to come through Georgia. And he still led them in in receiving yards and touchdowns. So I think it's gonna be interesting to see with Dylan Raiola coming over, as we've been saying on our shows, underrated and overlooked, on Drive for the GSSA state title. Will they run a more run dominant offense, or will they actually run more play action passing? Because Dylan Raiola is the #1 quarterback in the country, according to multiple reports and most people and analysts. So what's going to happen with that offense? And then that opens up, because KJ is probably going to run both sides, running safety and running offense. Will he have even more dynamic season? I could see KJ easily getting 1,000 yards in that offense next year. So, and I think really, to be honest, it's probably the best quarterback Buford has had in a while. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with KJ offensively next year. We have a 1,000-yard season and, multi-interceptions this upcoming year, probably 5 or more, and a lot of tackles. So I think it's going to be interesting to watch for next season. He's a guy that's a lot of fun to watch, so we will see him. But yeah, I'm going to pick Auburn. He commits actually Saturday, so y'all stay tuned for that. I believe it's going to be on NBC 11 Alive. His commitment is going to be there, so we'll see what happens with that. So that'll be a lot of fun. But I got to bring up a player that's underrated and overlooked. I talked to him at our media day, our Georgia High School Media Day. If you have not seen that, go check it out. Thanks to all the fans that are watching our channel, watching on YouTube, watching on NFHS. You guys were great, so we appreciate all the comments. That got over almost 1,700 views on YouTube, 1,100 views on our Twitter handle. So we appreciate y'all. It was a lot of fun being there. I was on air all day long with Craig and Kaylee and Brandon Adams and Rusty. But it was a lot of fun, man. I really enjoyed it. But a player I got to talk to while I was there was Baxter Wright. And it's kind of puzzling that he only has a Navy offer. And he had such a good season last year in 6A, right? 3,383 yards passing, 40 touchdowns, didn't have a lot of interceptions. I have a whole write-up that I'm actually going to post on my Twitter handle after I'm done with the show today, just so you guys know a little bit more about him. But he's elusive. He's great in open space. He has a great deep ball. I don't really have a lot of, knacks on his game or really a lot of faults in his game. I don't see. I think he's one of the best passers in Georgia, and he does not crack a lot of top 10 lists. So I want to put the spotlight on Baxter Wright. Without further ado, we're going to analyze his tape. All right, so this is a clip I slowed down. I'm going to have Craig go back after we see this throw. I want you to see the window that he fit that throw through. Absolutely incredible. And Craig, I'm going to have you pause it right here. Look at that window. Now, that's a lot of traffic going on right there. Now, if you look at it, You got a middle linebacker right there. You have the corner right on him, and you have a ref right in the way. Look at him fit the ball in there and hit his tight end for the touchdown. I mean, that's pinpoint accuracy. Last year, completed 75% of his passes. Right here, you're just going to see him run the ball, get an easy touchdown. Nice play right there. You're going to see a little bit of read option. Nice deep ball right there. Look at him hit his receiver in stride. That's Trey Reese right there. Great throw. Look where he throws it. Right here, good little read option. Nice touchdown right there. Easy money. Right here, a little read option. Love how he put the little pump fake on the defender. Hits his receiver in stride. Excellent play right there. Here, another deep ball. Look where he places the ball at. Boom. Right in between two players. You can't call that up no better. Right here, he doesn't see nothing downfield. He's going to make a play with his legs. Now, right here, you think, okay, he's going to go down. There's 4 defenders in the area. He's still going to go right here and score a touchdown. I mean, he stays on his feet. Great in the open space. Right here, boom. Look at him fool the defender. Look at this play right here. Oh, my goodness. Look at that play in the open field against the safety. Excellent play right there. Right here, great little deep ball over the middle of the field for the touchdown. Tight window, still fitted through there. This is the championship game. Nice read option. Great throw right there against Langston Hughes for the touchdown. Here he is right here. Look at this move he does. I pause it right here. Look at that. Craig, I'm going to have you go back. I want to analyze out a little bit further just to show you guys what he did right there. So this is the region championship game. Okay, go ahead, Craig. Pause it right here. Okay, so 4 defenders is in this area. There's no way he should be able to score a touchdown, right? Obviously, the 2 on the outside are blocked up, right? You got a safety coming down, and you got a defender that's bearing on him at number 55. Look at the move he puts on the safety, tricks him, fools 55 as well, and goes on the outer sideline. Look at this play right here. And then look him lower his shoulder at the end and finish the play. That's just next level. You don't see a lot of quarterbacks doing that. You just don't. Right here, great play, right across the middle of the field. Hit it between a really tight window between the safety and the corner. Looking to make a play with his legs. Turn into something big. Look at that move he put on the defender. Ooh, look at that move right there. I mean, incredible in the open field. Here he is right here, right across the middle of the field. Boom. Great throw to Scott Nibble there for the touchdown. Right here, getting a little wheel route from the running back. Hit him in stride. Don't have to slow down. Can't call that no better. Right here, great little play right here. Looks like another wheel. Perfectly executed. Get his team in the deep in territory. Right here, another one, another good goal ball. And you see in the receivers, they're not having to slow down for the ball, right? It's hitting them in stride and able to turn it into big plays. I mean, phenomenal. All right, here we go again. Boom, look at his throw. Craig, go back. I'm going to have you pause it just to show where he placed the football. So just pinpoint accurate at the high school level. Pause it right here. Okay, play it a little bit. Pause right there. Now, that is not an easy throw, right? Because if he overthrows him, that's not a touchdown, right? And he still has a defender that's bailing on him. So for him to throw it only where the receiver can get it, but be accurate enough where it doesn't go out of bounds, I mean, that's just exceptional. You can't throw the ball no better. You can't. Right here, a little read option. Nice throw right here. Intermediate throw. Get out of his hands quickly. Accurate. Read option right here. Same thing. He's going to hit Darius Cannon. He's going to turn it into a touchdown. Great play right there. This is in a semifinal game. Looking to roll out. Throw off the run right here. Accurate with the football. I mean, that's just great. Has all the tools you need at the quarterback position. Same thing right here. He's going to read the defender. Read option. Turn into a pass. Look what it turns into a touchdown. Pinpoint accurate throw once again. Same thing right here. Right across the middle of the field. Hitting Trey Reese for easy tutty. Boom. Nice little slant route right there from Trey Reese. Easy money. So the film speaks for itself. I mean, the first play I showed you guys, he fits into a tight window. The ref's in the way. The middle linebacker's coming up, and he has a corner on him, and he fits it into that tight window. So, I mean, it speaks for itself, man. If you're looking for a good Georgia quarterback, I don't know what else you need to show, right? 40 touchdowns, 3,383 yards, accurate deep ball, can fit it in tight windows, doesn't make a lot of mistakes. I mean, guys, he had 18 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in their playoff run last year. How much better can you get? And he had a completion percentage of 73%, What else are you looking for, right, at the quarterback position? And, I think he's about a good 6'1", 6'2", so he's a good height for a quarterback. He's not short, right? He's elusive. I didn't mention this too. He's a true dual threat. He's elusive in the open field, right? He doesn't go down. He makes defenders miss. He makes defenders actually look silly in the open field. So I don't know what else you're looking for at the QB position and what else you need to see, but they play upper echelon competition. They're in 6A. They're one tier below 7A. 6A still has great football. And you can't tell me it doesn't, because you got another guy that he battled in the championship game against Langston Hughes and Prentice Nolan, who's going to Ohio State. So you can't say it's a lack of competition he's playing, because it's not. He faced him. He plays Roswell, another good 6A team, right? They made it to the semifinals. They got a really good quarterback that's also underrated that I mentioned in KJ Smith. So he's playing upper echelon competition, And then next week they're going to play Milton to start for the scrimmage, right? I think they open the season against, Lanier. But Gainesville plays the top teams, in the state of Georgia. So you can't tell me that he's not playing the top team. So I just wanted to give him a little bit of a spotlight. Great player, accurate with the football, doesn't make mistakes, can be a dual threat, elusive in the open field. He checks all your boxes. Not many more you can check. So I just wanted to give him a little bit of a spotlight. Baxter Wright is going to be a player, as I had a write-up on. One to watch for next season. Don't be surprised if he has even better numbers. I think it was top 9 or top 10 in the state in passing yards. So he's right there, man. So hopefully his recruiter can go a little bit better and go up. But I know he's locked and loaded. When I talked to him, his focus was just on state, getting his players as many touchdowns as possible in state. And that's what you're looking for your quarterback. He's not cocky. He's looking at the team's success and what's best for the team. So you love that at your quarterback position. So we're going to leave it there. We're going to move on to another hot topic. Craig probably knows about this, but it's officially official. Carrollton will play Langston Hughes on ESPN2 August 18th. I can't speak to how electric this game is going to be. We're going to have our own Corky Kell game, so we're not going to be able to see it, but I am going to try to tape it so I can go back home and see it. I mean, the quarterback matchup, right? You got Prentice Nolan, Julian Lewis, some of the top players in the country, facing off. And I think ESPN is definitely going to get their money worth. I don't think this is going to be a blowout game. Sometimes you've seen ESPN do games and they've been blowouts. But I think this is going to be probably one of the best games that they feature on their ESPN or Geico ESPN High School Kickoff. This is going to be one of the best games, right? I think a key part to think about in this game is going to be the secondaries, right? Langston Hughes has Jacob Gu, who's a notable player. And then Carrollton has Kelvin Smith, who's a notable 3-star player. They're both committed. Gu is going to UCF. Hill, I got to go back and look. I don't know off the top of my head where he's going, but he's going to another major program. But can the secondaries rattle these quarterbacks early? And you can't say that often about these quarterbacks because they're so good, they don't get rattled, right? They've been in the big moments. They've played in them big stages. They've been in state championship games. Juju Lewis did it in his first year against Mill Creek. Didn't disappoint. I think he had 500 yards passing, 5 touchdowns. Aaron Nolan did it. Had a great game in the championship game. 55 touchdowns, 4 interceptions last season. So I think that's going to be the key, right? I mentioned secondaries because can they create turnovers? Can they create interceptions? Deflected balls? Can they force 3 and outs? So that's going to be key early. So those are going to be some guys to watch out for defensively. And I think I didn't mention it too, the D lines, right? The front sevens, right? That's going to be critical. We know they both have good offensive lines and notable players, right? You got Zaki Helton, who's going to Alabama, or he's committed to Alabama. Mateo Wells, another notable guard for Carrollton. Highly recruited, great player, played in our Elite Classic event. Langston Hughes has John Glover, who's going to Alabama. So it's notable guys on both of those offensive lines. So my key thing is going to be which defensive line can create pressure, create havoc, and make the quarterback, throw him off a little bit, get him a little bit rattled. So those are the two keys, I think, in that game. The secondaries, the defensive lines, can they create pressures on either side? And another key point I want to kind of point out is the rushing game, right? We didn't mention that enough. Last season, Langston Hughes had a really good rushing attack, right? They had Justice Haynes and Jaquel Meadowbrook, both 1,000-yard rushers. Justice Savage, I said Haynes, my bad, guys. Justice Savage is coming back, and he's already had a 1,000-yard season. So he's going to be the bell cow. Obviously, they're going to have other guys come in and, kind of spell him and things like that. But he's going to be the future running back for Langston Hughes next year. So how is that going to look, going forward, him being the feature back, not sharing load with Jaquel Meadowbrook, right? he's going to be the feature runner. And that's what made Langston Hughes so good last year, right? They weren't just beating you with Prentice Nolan, right? They weren't just beating you over top. They were beating you in the run game, right? And they had a notable offensive line last year too, right? Bo Hughley, 6'7", going to Georgia. They had a bunch of guys on the O-line. Jelani Thurman, who's going to Ohio State, he played tight end. He did some blocking stuff for them too. So I'm curious to see, will their running game be able to replicate the success that it had last year? That's going to be a key. And the same thing for Carrollton, right? Bryce Hicks, running back, underrated, but starting to get a little bit more notice now. Was on the All-American team, I believe, for the juniors after the season was over. Look, he's gotten bigger. Seen him in Hoover, Alabama. He's gotten a little bit bigger, guys. But that's what sucks sometimes about when coaches go after players. They look at the height and the metrics. Sometimes you got to get a guy that has heart. And Bryce Hicks has that. Bryce Hicks has heart. He plays both sides of the ball, and he continues to show how good he is. So will he follow up that great junior season and have an incredible start to his senior season? They got a lot of guys that can come at you in Carrollton as well. So it's just so many storylines you can go on this game and so many great players that it's going to be electric. And we won't be able to see it because we have our Cookie Kill games. But I'm going to record it because I want to go back and watch it because it's just a great way to start the season between two great teams. So I had to throw that out there. And another matchup before we go to break I want to highlight really quick in the Freedom Bowl. It's not getting talked about enough, but Milton Collins Hill, right? That's going to be another good matchup to start the season because not a lot of people are talking about Collins Hill, right? Collins Hill is kind of that little brother you're overlooking. They're not going to really do anything. Even though they did win the title in 2020, right? It's changed so much, right? They don't have Lenny Gregory anymore. But I will tell you guys, Coach Swick, I think, has a good grapple on that team. And I think, he was a defensive coordinator when he won it all. And I just like things he's instilling with that group, right? He's instilling confidence. They got some notable players. He believes in his quarterback, T.J. Wilcox, 2025 class. Curious to see how he looks in this year. They got some good running backs as well. They got C.J. Hector, who's being heavily recruited by Tennessee, the wide receiver. Defensively, that D-line, 6'3", 250 plus. Deuce Gerald's, Catrell Webb. They got some guys. So I'm curious to see how they're going to look against Milton. Milton is able to throw the football and they're able to run the football, right? They won't have their bell cow, Scott Maskowitz, this season, but they will have a two running back system in T.J. Lester and Shamar Vick. So how would that look in year one, kind of as a new running back tandem for the Milton Eagles? And I believe in Luke Nickel. I'm not going to lie to you. And as Coach Ben Reeves says, he was one of the reasons why they went so deep into the playoffs, into the semifinals. So how would he look in his, next season, kind of under the helm, heavily recruited guy, very, very good, a lot of weapons on there, which I'll mention the other matchup they're featured in. But I think they're going to look really good, and that's going to be another matchup that a lot of other people are talking about. But if Collins Hill can go, make it a defensive game, create some turnovers, make Milton feel uncomfortable in Milton, they got a good chance. Now, Milton, as I said, they're one of my sleepers out there in 7A, but I do like Collins Hill as well, and I like what Coach Swick is doing with that program, and I like some of the talent they got. And if you got talent and good coaching, you got a chance. So that's another matchup I'm excited to see, coaching matchup against Coach Swick, Coach Drew Swick, and Coach Ben Reeves. I think it's going to be a great way to open the season for both teams, kind of get a measuring stick to see where they're at. They're going to be a good test. So that's what I got as far as matchups. We got one more we're going to preview after the break, but let's go ahead and thank our sponsor, NFHS Network, and we'll be back on the other side. All right, y'all, so we're back. I just wanted to show a little bit of love to Jimmy Cash, one of our loyal supporters. He just made a comment on my stream right now. He said, a couple of fellas and I plan to go to that Carrollton versus Hughes game. Aaron Nolan versus Juju, can't wait. I did throw a comment into the comment box and said, bet, thanks, Jimmy, for the comment. I said, who do you have winning? So just wanted to give him a shout out. Always being a loyal supporter. He always tunes in for our shows on Tuesday, so I wanted to give him some love. Hopefully he'll give us a prediction of who he's going to take in that game. But let's keep it rolling. We're going to go ahead and talk about another matchup that has been revealed. This is actually by Rusty Menzel last week at our Georgia High School Media Day. Roswell versus Milton. Again, can't speak enough about that rival between both of those teams. I love that they're able to keep it alive. Roswell 6A, Milton 7A. Talked a little bit about Milton, but so many just great players on this roster. I'm going to start with Roswell first, right? Such a huge team up front, right? Anthony Knapp, who's going to Notre Dame, got to talk to him. Guy's huge. He's going to be a big staple for them next season on that O-line. Last year, Chase Morrison going to Virginia. That guy looks huge. He looks easily 6'5". And it's not like you'll see a guy that's big, but it's not like, oh, okay, yeah, this guy he's big or whatever. He's going to be kind of the force. Like, these guys look agile, though. Like, that's the difference. Like, they don't just look big and just force. They look agile, too. So, like, if you sleep on, like, their speed or their agility, like, they're going to tear you up. And I can't wait to see them up close and personal. Milton is going to have, the strong linebacking core I didn't mention earlier. But for Roswell, they got so many weapons, too, offensively, right? Talked about the defense a little bit, but offensively, right? K.D. Smith, another year, 38 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He doesn't get talked about enough, but I mentioned him in one of my underrated and overlooked segments as well. But Dylan Williams going to Marshall. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets more Group 5 offers coming in for him, maybe even Power 5, depending on the year he has. He's big, he's elusive. Craig talked about one of his big plays in our 7-on-7 Corky Kell Invitational, one-handed catch he had over across the middle of the field. So he's going to be the number one, right? And what made Roswell so good last year is that they had so many playmaking weapons you can throw to, right? You had Ethan Kright, Chris Elko, Dylan Williams. He was there, but he was kind of like, the third option. So how would he look as the first option? And I think defense is going to see really quickly, hey, we're going to have to double team this dude. So I think the test for Roswell is going to see, and obviously I don't know them. Hopefully I will soon. Who are going to be other guys that will step up for them besides a Dylan Williams offensively, right? I know about Najeh Davenport in the running game. He's really good. Nearly had a 2,000-yard season. But I mean at the receiver position. Now, they do have a notable tight end, I believe, last year as well. So what other weapons are going to step up for them? I think that's going to be really interesting to see next season. And then back to Milton, right? Let's talk about their weapons, right? C.J. Wiley, Mark Esley, who kind of flies under the radar. DeBron Gatlin going to Texas A&M. Ryan G, a heavily recruited 4-star, probably could be a 5-star tight end, right? And it's going to be so fun for Luke Nickel next year because he'll have so many players he can throw the ball to, right? And as Coach said, it's just about not being selfish, but it's about, and that's what he said about his players, Coach Reeves said. He said, everyone's bought in, right? It doesn't matter who eats, everybody, as long as one person eats, everybody eats. And that's the mindset you got to have. When you have that many weapons you can throw the ball to, you have to buy in. It's not just about my stats, but it's about the team's success. And Milton has that instilled already. So it's going to be such a fun game, and it's such a great QB matchup to see who is going to kind of outlast the other. It might be one of those games, y'all. I'm not going to lie. Who has the ball last? It could be one of those games, right? Both of them can move the ball well. Both have great assets and weapons they could throw the ball to. Both have pretty good running games, so that's going to be really interesting to see. One key thing I do want to point out in this game, though, is going to be the not the running backs, the defensive lines, right? Milton returns a lot of their starters from last year. They're still going to have Jack Lawson. They're going to have Ja'Cory Stewart's going to Kansas. Will they be able to kind of stifle Roswell early on and kind of shut down or make it tough? I won't say shut down, but make it tough for Najeh Davenport in the running game. I think that's going to be an interesting thing to kind of watch out for early on. And same thing for Roswell. Can they create pressure on Luke Nickel and kind of, stuff the running game that, at that point it'll probably be more well-oiled. That's the week 4 game on TV. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of goes for both teams. But that's going to be on Peachtree TV. Will be a lot of fun. A lot of stars on both sides of the ball. I think you can get a better matchup on TV. These teams have been playing each other for years. I'm going to look up really quick for y'all and just get who's winning the all-time battle between both of these teams. Give me one sec. Okay, so listen to this, guys. So Milton currently leads the all-time series 14-3. So they've had the better half of, hold on, my bad. That was Alpharetta. Forgive me, hold on. I'm looking at Roswell. I messed that up. Okay, so Actually, Roswell's winning the all-time series, 38-29-1. So very competitive, as you can see. Only about 10 games separate both teams. They've played each other a lot. As I said, it is a rivalry between both of these teams in Alpharetta. So I think it'll be another incredible game. So actually, Roswell has the advantage against Milton, 38-29-1. So I think it'll be one of those games that'll be fun. I wouldn't be surprised if it came down to the end. Both have great weapons and great receivers and things like that. Both have good D lines, so it's gonna be a fun game, man. Good test for both teams, 6A versus 7A. Good non-region battle between both of these teams. Another good, I think, measuring stick to see kind of where they are and how the season's gonna look. So that's what I got far as that. We're gonna keep it rolling. We are, I think, what are you about a week? No, 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks from our Corky Kell. So we're going to have previews on that coming out pretty soon on all the teams. So you guys stay tuned for that. We'll be on Peachtree TV. We did highlight a player Tuesday on our Underrated and Overlooked segment, CJ Givers. Craig highlighted him. Very impressive player, I thought. Just to talk about that a little bit. Had a good freshman season, 16 touchdowns, I think over 1,000 yards. He will be their featured back, so that'll be a lot of fun. That game will be at Fellowship Christian versus Mount Pisgah. I think Craig's going to talk a little bit more about it. I know he wants to go in detail about that matchup on his show tomorrow. So y'all stay tuned for that. But we're going to keep it rolling. We're going to talk about my next segment. Talk a little bit about some of my headlines. I'm starting a little bit early, but I think this is big. Peyton Marshall, big man for Kell, sets his commitment date for August 11th and is going to announce it on 247 Sports. If you guys don't know about Peyton Marshall, helped lead Kell to a state championship, their first ever in school history. He plays for, what was the team called? The AAU team. I'm losing it. I think it's called Elite. It's not Game. It might be Game Elite. Yes, I was right. Okay, Game Elite. So I got to see him up close and personal. Really impressive, man. I mean, 7 feet. I've probably seen him like 3 or 4 times in person. He's a force in the paint, hard to guard, hard to cover. He gets it in the post. He's hard to stop. You have to normally foul him. But originally he was committed to Auburn, so he ended up decommitting, and then now he's going to announce it officially on 247 Sports. So I think that's big for him. Curious to see where he's going to end up going. That's in actually about a week or so. He's just a nice game, man. He can block shots. He's elusive. He's agile. Excuse me. As a big man, I think whoever lands him, they're going to be very fortunate, right? He can do a lot of things well. And the cool thing about Kell is that they're going to return a lot of their lineup this upcoming season, right? They're going to have C.J. Brown. They're going to bring back Peyton Marshall. So they're going to have some guys that they can throw at you. They are going to be missing kind of their all-defensive player that's going to Alabama A&M, but they're going to have a lot of guys they're returning that's going to be really, really good for them. And I wouldn't be surprised if they repeat as champions in 5A because they're really, really good coming next year. I wanted to also mention Collins Hill. They announced their captains for the 2023 season. That's going to be T.J. Wilcox, Logan Arnold, Cedric Nass, wide receiver, Cortez Haynes, their linebacker. So those are going to be the captains for this upcoming season. Again, a player that's not talked about a lot, but we're going to see what he's able to do in the first couple of games of the season. It's T.J. Wilcox. It'll be interesting to see how he looks as a starter in that offense this year. Got to play last year, but he's going to be the commander. So it'll be interesting to see how and what kind of season he's going to have. So we're going to find that out. And then I want to reveal a schedule. Loganville, they just announced the teams they're going to be playing this upcoming season. So let's take a look. They had a really good season last year. Just to talk a little bit about Loganville. Had a really good start. They ended up starting the year. Let's see. They ended up starting the year 8-0, right? And they kind of faltered towards the end, but they had an incredible opener against Monroe area last year. They were 45. They won 45-39 in overtime. That kind of set the tone for the season. They ended up beating Discovery. They played Peachtree Ridge, Appalachia, Winterboro, Heritage, and Conyers. Eastside and Covington, Clark Central. And then they ended up losing pretty big to Jefferson, which was an away region game for them, 42-6. And then they beat Flowery Branch at home. They ended up securing the 2 seed in their region last year and ended up losing at home to Dalton 7-3. But I think they have a lot of things they can build on from last season. They were 9-2, so a really good season for Logan. But I think they had the best finish in school history, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of things they can build off of. They're going to start again this season with Monroe area. This time it's going to be on the road. And they're going to play pretty much the same schedule, right? They're going to have Discovery again, Peachtree Ridge, Appalachia, Winterboro, Heritage, Eastside, Clark Central, Jefferson, and then Flowery Branch they're going to end with. So they're going to have a lot of their same schedule from last year, not going to really change a whole lot, but I think they had a good season. A lot of things they can build off of. Some of the key players, let's see, from last year. Their senior quarterback had a good season. He will no longer be with the program. He just graduated. Johnny Crow, pretty good season as a senior, 16 touchdowns to just 4 interceptions. So really good senior season for him. Also lose a lot of the production from the running back position. Leslie, who had 785 yards rushing and 8 touchdowns. Crow, who had 361 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. And then Lawson, 227 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. So losing a lot of the running back production, but they'll bring back some of their receivers, which is good. Marshall, who was a junior last year, showed what he could do with the ball in his hands. They're going to bring back their sophomore, Breed Love, number 24. So he's going to be another player to watch for them. And then, as mentioned, Marshall. And then Soare, their other sophomore. So one thing they got going is they'll bring back a lot of their receiving corps from last season, as a lot of them, didn't really graduate. So that's obviously a good thing for them going forward. Let's see. Any other major guys they're bringing back? Okay, this is a name to know, guys. Okay, let's get his first name. It's like Luke Colbertson. As a freshman, he started. I think he's a linebacker for them. Last season, he was 4th on the team in tackles, 65 tackles last year, 2 for a tackle for loss. He's going to be a big player to watch out for. And then Robbins, their junior, had 58 total tackles last season, 7 tackles for loss. So going to bring back a lot of their linebacking core, which is good. So a little bit of their front 7, so that's good. But that's going to be a team to watch for next year. Had a good season, see if they can follow up their best season in school history and have another good one. But some more news. This is baseball. Some people I wanted to mention. Several Georgia players make the perfect game All-American team. Cade Brown from Parkview. Catcher Levi Clark, also from Parkview. Right-handed pitcher Conrad Kaysen from Great Atlanta Christian. Infielder Bryce Clavin from Kell. Right-handed pitcher Nate Taylor from Buford. And then outfielder Michael Molinax from North Cobb Christian. So this game actually is headline number 5. It will be taking place August 20th, 2023 in Arizona. So this is major key for here. I wonder if Bryce is going to play. I think for Kell, they open up the season against Parkview in our opener. Let's see what day that is exactly. Okay, so yeah, they open the season Wednesday, August 16th. So it's going to be an interesting storyline to keep on because their next game isn't until August 25th against Alatoona, which is an away game. But so I bring this up because the 20th is actually, it's on a Sunday. So Bryce does have that going for himself. So that'd be actually interesting. Have a game Wednesday and then playing in a perfect game, All-American game on Sunday. So he might be able to still do it. I think that's going to obviously be somebody interesting to interview if they come to our Cookie Kell luncheon, just balancing both because Bryce is such a great player in baseball that he's probably going to end up being drafted in MLB next year in the 2024 draft. That's how good he is. So he kind of has a decision to make if he wants to continue to pursue MLB or if he wants to do, obviously football. He's a 3-star prospect. He does have some pretty good offers. We'll look at that really quick, but, he can start and, go straight because, for baseball it's different. You don't have to go to college. You can go straight from high school and get right in there. But let's look at his profile just as far as 247, just some of his major offers as far as football. So, okay, so his offers currently right now from Appalachian State, Austin, PA, Campbell, Dartmouth, Eastern Kentucky, Indiana, that's D1, Power 5, James Madison, that's Group 5, Massachusetts, UMass, Pennsylvania, Troy, UNLV, Western Kentucky, and then Western Michigan. And then he has Oklahoma actually right now, who is very, very interested in him. Have not offered officially yet, but that's a program that is interested in him. So, tough to say. He's going to have a decision to make of what he wants to do. I think if he has another good season this year for Kel, he could possibly blow up in the football world. So he's going to have a big decision to make of what he wants to do, go play pro, or if he wants to take the football route. And you see this sometimes with great athletes. You've seen it with Kyler Murray having to decide between baseball and football. You've seen it recently with Colin Hulk for Parkview Panthers. He ended up going the baseball route and got selected in the draft, I think, in the first round. So it's going to be interesting to see what route he decides to go. So wanted to mention that game will be August 20th. I think it's going to be streamed in on TV in Arizona. So shout out to all the players from Georgia that made it, had great baseball seasons, and are having a great circuit on baseball right now in the summer. So just want to give them a shout out. They're doing their thing. Number 6 was really impressed at the media day of Georgia Military College Prep, right? Just how advanced they are as a team. Not really known a lot, but they're using the facilities of the junior college, Georgia Military College. And I think it just allows the players to get noticed more easily because obviously if you have a junior college, you have college coaches coming in and out to evaluate talent and players. A lot of times you go to JUCO college or junior college, you're trying to go there 1 year, maybe 2 years max, and you're trying to go to a 4-year school. So the fact that they're practicing using the facilities of the junior college, including their equipment, they got access to their medical staff in case a player gets hurt, I think it's going to be great for the program going forward, especially with their kids, right? And as I said, the coaches can come down whenever and evaluate the talent and get good looks at the kids. So that's going to be very valuable for them, just kind of getting that exposure, learning how to do things the right way, and already getting that training early and often. So I think that was one of the things that stood out to me for Georgia Military College Prep, as their head coach mentioned. And that's going to be a team, obviously, to watch out for going forward, seeing how good they're able to become and get. And just the pipeline, I think, is what's most important to kind of add and talk about, having that college pipeline right at your footsteps, right at your doorstep, and not having to go far to be able to be evaluated and, whatever, critiqued or whatever you want to call it. So that really stood out to me. I think that's exceptional. They're going to be obviously a high school program to watch out for, and obviously their football program at the junior college level is really, really good as well. So just wanted to mention that as a side. We're going to move to number 7. Christian Garrett earned a 4-star last week. I didn't get to do a show last week, but I wanted to mention that. Plays for Prince Avenue Christian. He was dropped by head coach Greg Vandergriff when I interviewed him at our high school media day as a key player to their team next season and a player to watch out for. And he also picked up an offer from Alabama August 1st. So he is obviously a marquee player. We know how good the quarterback is, Aaron Philo. Georgia Tech commit, really, really good. Last year led the league, led Georgia in passing with 4,500 plus yards, I think close to 50 touchdowns. So he's going to be a player to watch out for. And there are rumors, I'm not going to say anything is official, but there are rumors that Prince may have a TV game. So that would be, obviously, if they do have one, a player to watch out for next year and a player to watch for on TV. So obviously he's really good. I think he is a junior, 2025 class. So he's doing his thing and earning major offers. I mean, Alabama doesn't just offer anybody. So that is major for him. So wanted to talk about that. Number 8, 3-star linebacker Justin Logan officially commits to Arkansas Razorbacks. I think it was between Kentucky and a couple other notable Power 5 programs. But he's going to be a key player, obviously, for Cale this upcoming season. Had a really good junior season. Will be their senior. So major commitment. I think major get for the Razorbacks. He's going to bring a lot of tenacity, ferocity to kind of their team. I think he can come in and make an impact in year 2, year 3, and the college level. He's going to be obviously a player to watch for this upcoming season for Cale. But major get for them. I think he is a player to obviously watch for next season. So that's number 8. Number 9. This is kind of crazy. I got to pull out my phone for this one. Darian Reed joins a long list of players exiting out of Georgia to play for various programs out of the state. He will enroll at Prolific Prep in California to join Tyron Stokes. Hold on, I got the full tweet. Teron Stokes, Mikey Lewis, Zoom Diallo, AJ Diambasta. They all are transferring to Prolific Prep this summer. Now, last year, Prolific Prep was 35-2, 22-1 in the league. They lost to IMG Academy 66-63 in the playoff game. But, I mean, look at this talent you're adding, right? AJ Diambasta is the top player in the 2026 class, according to ESPN. Tyron Stokes is number 2 in the 2026 class, according to ESPN. And you have Mikey Lewis, who's a top player, 4-star. And you have Zoom Diallo, who's also a 4-star player. That team is just going to be absolutely loaded next year. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't lose a game, right? Now, obviously, we got to see, will it translate over, because sometimes you'll see this in the NBA a lot, and sometimes even college. Very talented roster, but it doesn't translate to winning. It doesn't translate to an elite program. So it's going to be interesting to see, because you have all this talent. Somebody's going to have to sacrifice, right? Not everybody's going to get all these touches and things like that. So the good thing is all these players are highly rated, right? So they got pretty much their colleges or schools they're thinking about going to or want to go to in the bag. But for the success of Prolific Prep and the team, they're going to obviously have to sacrifice it. So Darian Reed's coming over. He was their leading scorer, I think, leading rebound getter for Grovetown last year. So some of these players are going to have to take, I want to say back steps, but their numbers might be a little bit down from what they're usually used to. So I think that's going to be an interesting storyline to look for. Kind of sucks. But he joins, I think this is the 3rd player notable that transferred out of Georgia, right? Earlier this summer, you had Christian Anderson, a Michigan commit, transferred out of Lovett. He's going to Oak Hill. And then you had Micah Tucker from Mount Pisgah transfer out, go to West Virginia to Huntington Prep. So he's number 3. So it's kind of tough because I was interested and I wanted to watch them next season. But you still got some notable players in Georgia. You're still going to have Akai Fleming, who goes to Osborne and Marietta. Might have to go check him out in person, see him hoop. And you're still going to have Ace Bailey, who's at McEachern. So hopefully, man, we can get a little bit more exposure and maybe exposure is not the word. Maybe a little bit more on TV presence or, better highlighting these players in Georgia. Because I mentioned it last year. I mentioned it during the fall of last year. I was like, ESPN came, they did a game, 2 5-star players in Georgia, number 1 player in the country, and Isaiah Collier, and a top player in the country, and Stephon Castle. It was on ESPN, which was good. It was on ESPNU. But I just feel like the presence in TV of highlighting and spotlighting these players is not good enough in Georgia, in my humble opinion. And if you have a top player in the country, you got to put them on TV. Like, that's somebody you want to see. Now, we did do that for the state championships. And some of the top players that I mentioned that left were featured, like Micah Tucker. Isaiah Collier was featured. But even this season, right, there's not going to be, unless somebody takes it up, the state championship games aren't even going to be on TV. So that's what I mean when I say, like, we're lacking, because these are great players, and they're going to go to great college programs. And if they're not going the college route, they're going to go the G League route or Overtime Elite, which is a league where all the players play and they get exposure. So hopefully in the future we'll see better exposure in Georgia, because there's so many great athletes and so many great basketball players that have come out from the state of Georgia. Such a long list of players I could say, right? You have the Dwight Howards. More recently, the Jalen Browns, the Colin Sextons from Pebblebrook. Jalen Brown went to Wheeler. So many players that you can say that came out of Georgia that were great and that made the NBA. And as you saw, Jaylen Brown this summer, highest paid player in NBA history. So the talent is here, the pipeline is here, but there needs to be more spotlight and exposure. So hopefully we'll see that in the future. It does suck that he's going out, but a lot of talent in Georgia, as we always see. Another one I mentioned, or I forgot to mention, was Anthony Edwards, who plays for Minnesota. He got a bag this offseason. He went to a Georgia high school. So as we can see, and I can keep going, there's a long list of players that came from Georgia that have made to the NBA, either became stars or became major marquee players. So we're going to keep it going. It's unfortunate, but we'll see. Good luck to Darion Reed playing that prolific prep next season. And hopefully they'll have some games on TV where we can check them out. But real quick before I go to the last one, throw it to you, Craig. You got to see him in person, just or cover him a little bit. What just stood out to you about his game a little bit? Darion Reed.
What game did I go to?
I'm trying to remember. If you didn't go to a game, I know you covered one of his games as far as like a report you did or something.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably just their big win over Wheeler the previous year. They kind of had a down year. I can understand it,
Right.
but yeah, I mean, you're 100% right that we had the best team in the country last year, the best player in the country last year, and no televised games. It doesn't really make sense.
No, it doesn't. So hopefully it'll change. Hopefully we'll get more exposure. But I agree with Craig. I didn't get to see Darion Reed in person, but he's one of the highest rated players in the country. Even on ESPN 247 Sports, whatever sporting one you got, on 3, all those. He's the top player. So we'll leave it there. I got a big showcase. I probably won't be able to go, but this is basketball related as well. Elite 24 Under Armour Showcase is back. Will be played at Atlantic Station in downtown Atlanta. Numerous of notable players will be in attendance, including Chase McCarty out of Alabama, Ace Bailey, as you guys know, number 2 player in the country, 5-star, Dylan Harper, Derek Queen, and much, much more will be in attendance. And just to kind of spotlight this event, right, 105 plus players from this event have been drafted to the NBA, including 20 top 5 picks and 6 number 1 overall picks. So Kyrie Irving's been there, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Several notable NBA players have been in attendance at this Under Armour showcase in Atlanta. So majorly key. I think I need to give you guys a date, actually, because I did not mention the date. August 12th, this case will be. Thank you, Craig. So will be a lot of fun. Fortunately, that day we have our Sheriff's Cup. It is at 5, but, I mean, if you guys know about Saturday, we'll probably wrap up our Sheriff's Cup probably around like 2 o'clock, 2:30 in Collins Hill and Swanee. Then I have to rush all the way downtown, deal with that traffic. Probably won't get there to like 4:30. It's a lot. But nonetheless, if you have nothing to do, I think it will be streamed as well. Excuse me. But this is one of the major summer showcases in the state of Georgia, with major athletes all over the country coming over and playing. So go check it out. This was elite rosters. Go to slam_HS. They had several, players who will be in attendance. And then it unveiled the rosters as well. So that's a major thing happening this weekend. Will be a lot of fun, and a lot of marquee players in attendance. So that's what I got for you guys for today. You guys comment below. I think I had one more comment from Jimmy I'm going to address before we wrap the show for today.
Tickets are just $10.
And Craig just pointed out tickets for that, just $10. Yeah, you cannot beat that. So if you want to go see the top tier talent for $10 on a Saturday, you can't beat it. So go check it out. Will be a lot of fun. Will be an interesting thing to watch out for. Thanks again for that, Craig. So we got one more comment from Jimmy Cash. He says, I think Langston Hughes is one of the premier teams in high school football in the state of Georgia. Can't disagree with you. Personally feel like they should have played for a national title last season. With that said, I got Hughes, but I expect Juju to put up big numbers. Lee County might make it interesting in 6A along with Gainesville. I think we got to throw in Houston County in there too. Yeah, Houston County is going to be one. They got one of the best prospects in the country at the quarterback position in Antoine Hill. we definitely need to feature them. I think they're going to play Warner Robins this upcoming season. I mean, I know we don't do a lot of games down south, but any of those games, like Lee County, Houston County, or Houston County, Warner Robins got a bunch of studs on their team. Any one of those games are going to be a lot of fun. I think Warner Robins is a little past Macon, but that might be one to put on TV and one to watch for. And I totally agree with Jimmy, right? Langston Hughes should have played for a national title, right? 15-0. They pretty much blew out every team they played. It was only a few that gave them a little bit of a run, right? The first half of the Woodward Academy game gave them a little bit of a tussle. Gainesville played them tough in the championship game. Besides that, though, Langston Hughes pretty much dominated every team they played. So if they come out and do that again, and they're already rated on the High School Football America top teams, I think, in the country, if they go do that again, or even have a follow-up season, let's say they lose maybe one game. I don't think they will, but let's say they maybe lose one game. They should be playing for a national title. And I think what should happen is, I think nationally, whoever does it, maybe Craig can tell me, but they need to open it up, right? Maybe make it where, I think it'd be a great idea. I think you get a lot of sponsors from it. Just throwing this out there. Maybe make a schedule where it's 16 teams nationally, top teams. You give 4 teams a bye week, and then you let the other ones play, 5 through that 16 play. And then you let the top 4 teams play whoever's left. And then from there, you continue to play. The season wraps up for most teams, December for the most part. Maybe do it in January, and around maybe like Super Bowl weekend, maybe like the last week of January or February. And just let the top teams nationally play. Obviously you're going to have a board and people vote on who the top teams are. But invite some of the best teams in the country to play in it. If they want to play. If they don't, obviously you let other teams play. But I think it'd be great, and I only mention it nationally because I think it'd be a great showcase if you have players that are seniors that aren't heavily recruited. They can put their talent on display. Teams can be, teams can be televised, and it's put on a national tournament instead of that, because usually it's just the top 4 that they choose, and then that's it. Yeah. Maybe expand it, like we've seen like college football expand to 12. Or even can do 12. Maybe 16 is too much. Maybe do 12. 12 of the top national teams in the country play in a tournament. You're going to get so many sponsors that want to sponsor that event. And, maybe put the teams up in hotels. I mean, obviously it's going to be a little expensive, but I think it'd be great for the players, and even the players that aren't heavily recruited. That could be a tournament where, you show out, you have good games. Hey, who is that guy? We still got another spot available. I think that'd be a cool thing. But I agree with Jimmy. To go back to his point, they should have played for a national tournament title last season. And I think we need to expand it. I think it don't need to be just 4. Maybe go to 8 or 12, Maybe 16 is a little too much. But I think that would be a lot of fun. I think a lot of people would tune in for that too. Who don't want to see the top players in the country play, or top teams in the country play each other on TV in high school?
Yeah, Collins Hill, that game was incredible when they made it.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, I was interning at the time. They played, who did they play?
Someone from California, I think.
And they played in Vegas, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that did go back and forth. It was Sam Horn, Travis Hunter. Hunter probably had 2 to 3 touchdowns in that game. Yeah, like stuff like that we love to see. So maybe they'll think about expanding in a few years. I know they're very selective with their invites and teams they do. But yes, I agree with Craig. That one a couple of years ago when Collins Hill played for the national title was incredible. And it came down towards the end. I think Travis had put them right back into the game. He tied it up, and then they came right back down and scored, and that was like ball game. But nonetheless, yes, I agree with Craig. It's a lot of fun. It was on TV. I think it was on ESPN. So you're going to get a major national network to pick that up, right? So that'd be incredible. I mean, whoever does the board for them, maybe they'll think about it in the future. But I think expanding it would be a lot of fun. But we'll see. But that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Keeping it real with Najeh Wilkins. We got a lot of fun stuff coming on. Make sure you guys go check out our segments from Underrated and Overlooked. It was a lot of fun this show Tuesday. Check out Craig's show from yesterday. And we got a new thing coming now, right? Daily Dive. Every day we're going to have new articles for you guys. I had one yesterday, but I thought the scrimmage between McEachern and Pebblebrook is going to be really a lot of fun. A lot of good players. The speed that Pebblebrook has, right? 5 guys that run a 10-9 speed or 10-9 100. What? And then McEachern's really good secondary led by Daniel James, who's going to Cincinnati. Really great player for them. And as Coach Reed mentioned when he was interviewed, he thinks his strongest unit is his offensive line and his secondary. So that's going to be a good test early on. Obviously, just a scrimmage, it doesn't count, but I think it'll be a good test for both teams. And then Craig had one today about Buck Godfrey, him getting inducted into the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame. He even has a stadium named after him. So y'all go check that out. That's all on scoreatl.com. Make sure you guys are subscribed to our YouTube page. We have a lot of great content. We're going to have game streaming all season long. Shows all season long. And it's going to be a lot of fun, man. So y'all stay tuned for the ride. And we got a lot of content coming up. So stay tuned for that. Tune in to Craig Show tomorrow. Drive for the GHSA state title Friday at noon. Until then, we'll see you guys. Happy Friday Eve and have a good weekend. Peace.
Oh,